All right, fans of The Best Man, the final chapters. This video is pretty much, a top five or five unanswered questions that the series left us with. Now, yes, I do applaud the series, or should I just say the franchise in general, getting an 8 episode mini series to kind of cap off the franchise as a whole, as opposed to a third movie that only would have been, maybe a couple hours at best. However, there were still a lot of things that really weren't answered. I know that some things are meant to, be left up in the air to have the viewer speculate, but I just feel like at times, despite having 8 episodes, there wasn't enough time to focus on certain things. Like, there were moments in the series where I'm like, wait, okay, this is a big revelation, but are we not going to follow up on it? So in no particular order, these are just 5 things I wish that the series would have expanded upon a bit more to let the viewers know kind of what happened next. Number 5 or number one, number one. Did Unfinished Business ever get a sequel? Now we know that Harper, his agent, and when Hollywood was calling, they were saying, we got to strike while the iron's hot. And, that really began to put a big damper on his marriage with Robin, because I think at the time, originally she was talking about going to Ghana for like 3 months for kind of a program to learn more about the culture. And this could really help expand the Robin's Nest, business that she has. But, of course, Harper just couldn't up and leave the States for 3 months, given how, his career was really taking off at this point. But then she managed to negotiate it down for like a month. But yet again, Harper was like, yeah, well, given how Unfinished Business has really been getting, making waves, and they're talking about a sequel, I can't really up and leave for a month. And then that really caused a rift, because of the fact that, they had talked about it, and then all of a sudden his career kind of bumped in between their plans. So it kind of felt like, damn, for such a point in their marriage where things really started to fall apart because of Harper's career, I wish we could have found out if there was an Unfinished Business sequel. Like if there was a sequel, what would it have covered? Could you see Unfinished Business 2 pretty much kind of incorporating the story of the first Best Man? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, didn't that movie incorporate the college life of the Best Man crew? So basically, like, the college flashbacks during the first movie was Unfinished Business 1. So Unfinished Business 2 could have been, perhaps the Best Man movie 1. I don't know. But, it's just something I was thinking about. But overall, Harper's career really was focused more on writing as opposed to, making it big in Hollywood. Of course, the book really set him up financially. The movie really set him up financially. And moving from there, he just got bigger and bigger. Plus, not to mention, with a Pulitzer under his belt now, he's probably going to make a lot of movies based on his books. Okay. Next up is Quentin and whether or not he sold the family business. Now, we know for a fact that, a corporation kind of swooped in and offered to buy the company from Quentin, because as he told the guys, and I think episode 6 or 4, I forgot which episode it was, but basically he, revealed that when the pandemic hit, well, originally he wanted to change his father's business strategy for the company. And as a result, he expanded into different territories. Like the one we know that he really was excited about was the one in Paris. That was the one that was shown during the montage as episodes 3 started, when we jumped from like 2013 to 2020, or 2020 or 2022. And basically within a few months it had to shut down due to the pandemic. And because of his business decisions, the company almost went bankrupt, and nowadays they have to work twice as hard daily just to get back to half of what they used to have prior to the business changes. So then when he was offered an unholy amount of money in order to, sell the family business, his dad didn't care, because, Quentin was all about, heck, this will set up, Kennedy's kids if we sell the company for this price. And his dad didn't want to do it because, number one, he wanted to keep it in the family. He wanted to keep it black owned and whatnot. And, Quentin was unsure of what to do because how could you say no to this much money? But then later on, after he found out about his dad's condition, which we never got a name, I guess it was I guess we're meant to assume it's like Alzheimer's or something like that affecting his, memory and ability and recollection skills. So basically, we have Shelby, Quentin, and Kennedy over at the house, kind of cleaning things up. I don't know if they're like, yeah, they were kind of cleaning things up because I think in the following episode it was revealed Quentin, hired like a nurse or something to watch over his dad. So it's not like his dad moved from the house. It's just that they kind of came in to help put things back together because he was living in a pigsty because his memory had gotten so bad he wasn't able to like cook his financial books right, and he wasn't paying his employees. So as a result, he didn't have any maids or anything. It was just him. So while Kennedy was looking through some of the things, he kind of stopped and was like, oh yeah, let's look at this picture book here. And it's like, this was where my father or my grandfather got, the first property for this business. It was like the first black owned, building in this specific district. So we had a moment where the camera cut away to Quentin kind of looking like, in deep thought, like, oh, wow. So, okay, the family company does really matter, not just to be kept within the family, but to be kept black owned. But that's it. We never get follow up on whether or not Quentin kept the company within the family and if he was able to build it back up to where it was, or if he simply sold it. We just never really found out. And that goes into number 3, which I've already done a video on, but we never really learned why Shelby kept Kennedy's, I guess you could say, the identity of her father a secret. For 10 years, Shelby never told Quentin or Kennedy that, hey, Quentin is your father. I don't know if it's because some people have speculated, not defending Shelby, but kind of trying to fill in the blank since the series didn't do it. It's like, well, I don't know, Jeremy. Maybe it was a situation where she realized, maybe her and Quentin would be nothing more than on again, off again lovers. They had a toxic relationship, so she didn't feel like he was the right person to settle down with for anything long term. Which is a shame because, like Quentin said, it's like you got married twice, and I never popped up to interrupt, your wedding ceremonies, and here you are about to ruin mine. And then, I loved how Harper clapped back, like he said, I disrespectfully disagree, when Shelby tried to get all up in his face about, keeping Mia away from Robin, about how a mother is only doing what's best for her child. And it's like, oh, so was it best for Kennedy to keep her in the dark about Quentin being her father for 10 years? And yeah, we never got any, explanation on that. I think in the final episode, Kennedy finally called him dad after, it was thought that he was having a heart attack. But other than that, wow, that really does suck, Shelby. Sheesh. All right, next up, I forgot the name of which daughter it was, but Candace and, Julian, they had 2 daughters. And one of them was struggling with like anxiety disorder or ADHD or something to that effect. And it was the episode focusing on, their encounter with a Karen over a taxi cab. At the end of the episode, Julian kind of pulled the daughter to the side, like, hey, I just want to kind of check in with you to see if you're okay about, what happened the other day with the taxi cab and the woman and the dog. What are you talking about, Dad? I don't know what you're talking about. And then, she runs off to her room, and Julian, we kind of look at his face and it's like, wait, what? And I'm like, oh, wow, does she have something that does affect her, like, short-term memory or something? But we never follow up. The next thing I remember was one night when the parents I think it was it the New Year's episode where they're over at Quentin's and Shelby's for like a New Year's party, and the girls stay home. And oh yeah, it was like, what? Fuck them kids. And they were getting high off some snacks. They get home, and then it turns out the daughters were chewing up, the herbal medicine or whatever that Candace was studying. Because remember, her whole thing was studying to find a way for herbal usage to, substitute for pharmaceutical over-the-counter medication. And, they were getting high, and they were high and shit. And again, we never get follow up on this. It's kind of like, yo, your kids are druggies, but we're not going to follow up to see, how this is handled. Wow. Okay. And then the last thing, Jordan and Harper. Honestly, I'm not mad about the way that kind of, ended right before we did the 2-year jump from 2022 to 2024. Jordan let Harper know that, look, you need to heal from this divorce. Your wife and daughter just left. You don't want to move to Brooklyn to be with me because I'm not going to be that rebound to help you pick yourself up. You need to take some time. And hey, take your time, heal, and don't look to lean your head on my shoulder or any other woman's. And, once you've moved past this hurt and pain, if fate kind of, allows us to find our way back to each other, then we'll see what happens. So, yeah, it's kind of, left up in the air as to whether or not these two actually got together or they're just really good friends in the future. So, with that being said, those were the 5 things that I felt were important unanswered questions that I wish the series did, at least follow up on to give us conclusive answers. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.